not a community around us that has nearly 17% of its population enrolled in Lynn schools. And I would call on anybody, and again, typically you leave kids out of it, but God damn it, if you're going to vote for this, and you're going to vote to exacerbate the overcrowding in our school systems the way we have it right now, to open up affordable housing, to bring in more families from outside, so that Lynn is the land.
Ozzy, is this yours? Oh, Ozzy. Is this yours? No. Don't forget it's Debbie.
We'll do a roll call first, right? Call the meeting out of public safety. Roll call.
Counsel Barton?
Present.
Present. Counsel Field?
Present.
Present. Counsel LaPierre? Absent. Counsel Chakutis?
Present.
Present. Counsel Walsh? Present. First thing on the agenda is discussion with Police Chief Christopher P. Reddy, DPW Commissioner Andrew J. Hall, and CFO Michael A. Patino regarding complaints from seniors and parents regarding public safety issues in and around Pleasant Street. Further discussion regarding utilizing police radar vans and installing raised crosswalks as possible solutions to cause drivers to reduce their speed in this neighborhood.
Councilor Seer.
Thank you, Chair Barton. So I did send a letter in, with both Councilor Diana Jacutis and Councilor Barton to request raised sidewalk, crosswalks at that location. I would also like to add to that we should make that a 20-mile-an-hour zone. If it's not already, we should put signs up indicating that and possibly flashing lights. I understand that there's a cost to this. That's why I'm putting a request in that we either do a transfer from the reserve account or maybe look at possibility of using CARES Act money. The issue here is the amount of senior buildings that are there. There are at least 5, I think there may even be 6. There's 2 schools, there's 2 churches, the YMCA, and there are many people that go back and forth, especially now that the new grocery store is open back up in the old Shaw's location, that use walkers. There are people in wheelchairs. There are young kids that are in that neighborhood. You're talking a real public safety issue there in that neighborhood, and I know other communities have done exactly what I'm suggesting, or what we're suggesting to be done. Not 1, but at least 2 raised crosswalks on that street. Put more signage on there, school zones, senior crossing, YMCA. So the police have their hands filled with so many other things that are going on, but we just had an accident there a couple weeks ago where a car was flying down the street and literally flipped over and smashed into parked cars. Thank God there wasn't a senior or a student down there at that time. So I think it would, be in the best interest of public safety and all the people that live there, plus the people that are coming in on a daily basis, attending the schools or the Y. So that's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other councilors? Just Council Walsh.
Thank you. Is this doable, raised crosswalks? Andy, if you get, Andy Hall, can you get here?
Andy, could you please come to the microphone so they can hear you?
Hi, so to answer Council Walsh's question, we don't currently have any raised crosswalks in the city. That's not to say that it can't be done, but we don't have any right now.
Okay, I like the idea, and the reason I'm asking this is because O'Callahan Way is in need of raised crosswalks also, and I would be in favor of this if there was enough money to do O'Callahan Way. I know the neighbors have been asking for it down there. It's been something where there's been a challenge with trying to, figure out whether they should be placed here or there. And I know in some cities and towns, they do like a speed bump or a hump that's temporary to see if it's a good idea or where it should be placed, or the crosswalk itself. How would you look at that or implement that, do you know? Or
I know Salem's got something called a speed pillow, they call it, which is just like you said, it's some sort of temporary thing that's lagged into the hot top. I'm leery of this structure's impact on snowplows, but it's something we can look into, Shirley.
Right, the hump's a little bigger, so the plow will probably ride over it more than a bump, right?
It could, I've seen these things in brochures. I've not seen one in person, but I understand they have them in Salem.
Okay, all right.
And then there are, there's probably 8 crosswalks across Pleasant Street, and I'm not, do you know the ones, are we talking between Tremont and the Commons? Is that kind of the area of concern, or is it the whole thing, or?
So actually, in between where St. Stephen's is, there are 2 crosswalks. But the unfortunate part is this car's parked on the side, and I think Councilor Jacutis can back me up on this. People are going so fast down that street because they're using it as a cut through. They don't even see, especially if it's someone in a wheelchair coming out from behind a parked car. So I know that there's a cost, and I know if somebody's driving a plow down the street and they go over it and they're going too fast, they can do damage to their plow. I get that. But the size of a crosswalk and the size of the hump, and if someone's going that fast in a plow, they shouldn't be plowing, to be perfectly honest with you. So if we can put signage there and blinking lights and possibly do O'Callahan Way, and we can use this as an example. There are many schools in the city that are on main roads. Lewis Street is a perfect example. Easton Ave, the 2 elementary schools, we don't even have a crossing guard at Lewis Street. That doesn't make sense. But that's a whole different subject.
Right.
But I really think that it does make sense for us to really explore this and take a look at it and at least try it and see how it works.
Andy, do you have any suggestions that you could think of that we should do?
I mean, I can get a price for these speed pillow things, like, as they're called, and
But do you think that's a good idea where I'm sure if we do it there, we're going to get a lot of phone calls to do it other places?
yeah, I'm not particularly keen on speed bumps, to tell you the truth.
Right.
But I'd be willing to try it.
If I could just follow
Council Welch?
One more thing. So, just a suggestion here. We have a city planner. Can you meet with Aaron and review what's out there in other cities and towns, and maybe he can help with placement in those areas and stuff?
Sure,
See,
yeah.
Is that something we should look at doing, and is that a suggestion?
Can I just add to that, though? This isn't a speed bump. There's a big difference between a speed bump and a raised crosswalk. So, and you go into Somerville, they have them. You go into Malden, they have them. On main streets, you go into Newton in Watertown, they have them. You go through parking lots like Home Depot or Lowe's, they have them in front of the store to slow people down. A speed bump is just a bump. This is actually, it's designed so that plows can go over it. It's designed that cars can go over it at a reasonable speed. So that's why I'm saying, I've looked into this, and I get Andy's concerns about putting a speed bump in the middle of a roadway. This is more than a speed bump.
Counselor Chakutis.
The problem is, this has been going on for so long. We really need to protect the elderly. I'm down there a lot, and just being out front of the building with them, the cars are flying down the street. And as Councilor Sayre said, they're trying to go in between cars and wheelchairs and walkers. People don't see them because there's cars parked everywhere. Someone's really going to be seriously hurt. And the accident that happened a few weeks ago, we're just very fortunate nobody was right there when it happened. I think this is something we need to do sooner than later. We really need to protect the people down on Pleasant Street, through the whole city, but I've seen what's going on down there, and we really need to do something now.
Counselor Walsh.
Thank you. So the CFO's here, could you come up to the mic for a second? Is the CARES Act money, is it available for things like this? Is this something we could use it for?
Mike Bertino's City of Lynn CFO, just for the record. I don't believe we could use the CARES Act, but there is another funding source we have, which I think would be appropriate, would be the ride share money. We get money for each Uber and Lyft ride that originates in the city. So we're able to use that money for the impact of those, and traffic safety is appropriate. So I think that using that would be the most appropriate, straightforward, accessible way to fund this project.
I mean, I'm for it. I like the idea of speed humps. I think it's a great idea.
All right, before we make any motions, why don't we at least hear from the chief of police before we make any motions? I'll get you after that, all right? After the chief.
Yep.
Thank you, chief, for being here.
Good afternoon, Chris Reddy, Chief of Police. First, I would just like to say that we have received complaints, and we've spoken with Councilor Chakutis and others in recent months regarding this issue and the concerns of the residents, especially the elderly residents that live there. And the traffic unit has spent a number of days, a number of enforcement patrols down there trying to address the problem. As you can imagine, there are traffic complaints throughout the city. It's the number one issue that we deal with. But certainly where there's a vulnerable population like the elderly or students, those are more of a priority for us. We have tried to give that some attention, and we'll continue to do that. I think one of the things that can help in the short term, while you're deciding or even planning for any type of raised crosswalks or other more permanent structures, is that we will place a speed trailer down there that will help to increase awareness of the speed that people are traveling at and through that area. And by doing so, we'll also be able to conduct a survey to get an hour-by-hour survey of exactly what the speeds are and how much they are above the set speed limit, and that would help to inform any future responses as well. And in addition to that, we'd be more than happy to meet with the residents and hear firsthand exactly when the problems are happening, when they're experiencing them. I think there can be a lot of benefit to communicating directly with them about those concerns, and then trying to direct our patrols at the times that they're most concerned about as well. So, other than that, any questions?
So if you had to put those things out there to see their speed that they're doing, and you to get your data, how long would that take, and when could that start?
Yeah, Sergeant Hunter from the traffic unit is here with me now. We've been talking about this. He's going to try to have the first one out there tomorrow. And then it would depend on what the data sample you want. I mean, if we would do at least a week, I think, on a couple of different directions, and that will give an initial idea, but we can go for as long as is necessary to get an assessment of exactly what's occurring down there, and then that's just real data. So,
Thank you. Councilor Fields.
Thank you. It was more for Mr. Hall. I just want to make sure when they're looking into the crosswalks that they're ADA compliant, obviously, because it doesn't, the ones that I've gone over, like Council President described in other communities, are kind of a rounded feel to them. I just want to make sure they are ADA compliant so that people with walkers and people in wheelchairs aren't struggling to get across their own crosswalk, that we try, you're not causing one problem, by trying to solve another.
Right. Understood.
Thank you. I see parking's here. Bobby Stillion, would you like to say something?
Actually, I'm going to put on a different hat. I'm putting on the Traffic Commission hat. I'm the chairman of the Traffic Commission. We have major things coming on where people are complaining about speeding, so forth and so on. The councilor has had a big problem down in that area because of the crosswalks, people aren't stopping, so forth and so on. I have had multiple conversations with Mike Bettino, who's been very helpful. What we're looking for is some kind of a funding source that at these areas where the councilors have the problems, and it's not just this one spot where there's elderly and stuff, there are stop signs that have the red lights flashing around them telling you to stop. There are signs where they have solar, so they'll always be lit except for if we have a lot of inclement weather. But there are signs that will tell you, slow down your speeding. We have these, and this is more so a thing for the whole city than just this area, which is a big problem. This area has a lot of schools and congestion. Maybe the school department should be looking at maybe spending some money where we're having a problem with crossing guards where slow down, crosswalk. There are things you can actually buy. Sergeant Hunter has actually looked at a lot of these things too, and we talked in the Traffic Commission. Andy is on the Traffic Commission also. I think this is something that we got to look at for the whole city. If you could put up some things that are flashing, slow down, 20-mile-an-hour zone for the schools. I don't know if this is something the Traffic Commission should be looking at in an area, maybe talking with the planning director, but maybe the traffic in these streets should all be lowered to 20. If you're coming down, these are the calls we get. Coming across from Tech, kids are constantly crossing. The YMCA, there's constant problems. The KIPS, there's problems. St. Mary's, there's problems. We even have problems at Washington Street. Maybe all these streets should be addressed for 20 miles an hour. Maybe this, what the traffic they're going to do with the Lynn Police is great, but maybe we should look at the whole area doing something. There's a lot of schools, a lot of congestion in that area. But I think a funding source for the police, so the Traffic Commission can do something with flashing stop signs, and if every councilor thinks about it, there's areas where this would greatly help them. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other councilors? Any decisions, councilors?
How about we ask the city planner to look at those areas that we indicated and get in conjunction with the DPW and Parking Traffic Commission to identify the placement of these and maybe look, that's probably
You just want to notify, or you want to make that as a motion? or-
make a motion to have them look at that and try to install speed humps, because I agree, the bumps aren't the humps and bumps, right? The bumps are not going to work as well as a speed hump would work. That would be.
Right, but in the meantime, do we want the police chief to go ahead with what he's going to do?
Yeah.
Second.
Second, motion made, seconded. Any discussion? Roll call.
Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre? Absent. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, Counsel LaPierre? What do you think?
Apparently I am on it. If I knew that, I would have had some more to say, but I am in favor. Thank you, Clerk Rowe. Sorry.
Are you good? Is there anything you'd like to share with us now, Counselor?
Real quick, Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry for being late. I did catch a lot of the comments being made, and I appreciate the Chief, the Sergeant, and Mr. Cillian and Mr. Bertino, and of course, Mr. Hall being here today. It's an ongoing problem. The original thought was the installation of 3D sidewalks. I'm not sure if people spoke about that yet, but that has nothing to do with a surface bump on the roads. That has all to do with an illusion that gives the impression that there's a bump, but there is no bump. It's still flat, and it's basically a 3D illusion because of the paint that they use on the surface to paint those crosswalks. So as a vehicle is driving upward and probably at high speed, they automatically have to pause, or that's the thought behind it, because the crosswalk appears to give an illusion that it's raised. even though it is not raised. So this is really going to take, with Andy's help, a special affixed epoxy or whatever it is, paint, to do crosswalks. It doesn't solve the speeding in the streets necessarily, but 3D crosswalks were presented to us in the past that other communities are doing. Again, not speed bumps or not these things that the pellets and things, but around that areas of the seniors or other thoroughfares, just to slow down the drivers of those cars that are speeding. So that was my only little add-on piece to this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. So if I could ask Chief Reddy to come back to the podium. Chief, I think it would be a goal if, you could start, doing what you do to make this happen, so we can get some data on this.
Yeah, absolutely. We can begin that tomorrow, and again, we'll continue to do enforcement while that's happening, and you can continue to make whatever planning arrangements you want to while that's happening, and as soon as we get it. Counselor, do you want a week's worth or 2 weeks' worth, or give us a better idea of what type of sample size you'd like? We would typically do at least 1 week to give a full 7-day cycle.
How about till our next meeting, next council meeting? When's our next council meeting? 2 weeks? How's that? Would that be
That's
good?
fine. We'll get a sample, and we'll send a report to you prior to that.
Okay,
next
just
council
give us an idea. I really
Yep.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for being here. Thank you, Andy. Is there anything else on the agenda?
No.
Did everyone
Nothing
vote?
else on the agenda?
Everyone voted?
Excuse me?
Everyone voted?
Yes.
Yes. Motion to adjourn?
Adjourn.
Motion made, seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Yeah.
for you, Councilman.
I haven't seen him. Okay, I'd like to call the Public Property and Parks Committee meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Counsel Staben?
Present.
Present Counsel LaPierre.
Present.
Present Counsel Calucci? Absent. Counsel Walsh?
Present.
Present Counsel Field.
Present.
Okay, thank you. We have a few items on the agenda and a couple more in new business. First is request from Elise Fannin, Treasurer Collector, for use of the foyer to display annual pumpkin decorating contest from October 16th to October 22nd. Elise? Welcome.
Thank you. So in 2019, we had this contest before, just a little camaraderie between coworkers. Last year, we didn't end up doing it because of COVID, but this year we're hoping to display the pumpkins in the foyer and take pictures of them, post them online, and let the community vote.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Calucci absent. Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Field.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Elise.
Thank
All
you.
set.
Thank you.
Happy decorating.
They look nice.
Next is discussion regarding the Thurgood Marshall Middle School site. As you remember, we had a bid that was unanimously voted on by this body to accept the bid from the East Boston Community Development Group to purchase that site, but it had to be turned back over from the school committee to the city. Council President Sear, myself, Attorney Lamanna, CFO Mike Bertino went to the school committee, presented our findings, as well as the bid itself. As you remember, we had participation of school committee members John Ford, Donna Capola, as well as Lorraine Gately, who were here. I'd like to thank the school committee for their due diligence on doing their research, and we had an almost unanimous vote to turn that property back over to the city by the school committee. So the discussion tonight is to move forward with that so we can get that property off the city books. Council President Sear, would you like to add anything to that?
Thank you, Chairman Staben. Absolutely. So this has been a long process. So it was like climbing a mountain, and for everybody to finally come together in agreement that this is the best thing that we can do with that building, for that neighborhood, for the seniors of our city. It's unbelievable. It took a long time, but everybody got together and we worked this out. I don't want to mention any one particular person. I will say the Lynn City Council, Public Properties, and the school committee, and the law department, and the mayor's office have done an unbelievable job trying to push this thing and get it done. The CFO, everybody, ISD. I just want to say that this has been a long road, and I'm finally glad it's coming to a conclusion, and I want to thank everybody that's been involved in it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Council President Sear. I'd also like to add Tim Linnard in the purchasing department as well for their work on that. 3 times that property went out, and each time the bids came in, especially this last go-around when I believe there were 5 of them, and we had books stacked up sky high. So again, I reiterate the Council President's thanks to all those involved, the Law Department, the Public Property Committee, the Council, the School Committee, CFO Bertino, and the Purchasing Department. It's a welcome thing to get that property finally, 5 years later, off our hands, a property that at one point we didn't know if we were going to have to pay $8 million to demolish it. Not only do we not have to pay $8 million, we're getting $2.5 million for it. So it'll also provide much needed affordable senior housing for the seniors of Lynn. I think it's a win-win all around for the neighborhood, for Council President Sears' Ward 3 neighborhood, who have been living for 5 years with that dilapidated property and the break-ins and everything else that's gone on there, fires. in all, I think this is a win-win all around. So, Attorney Lamanna?
At this point, I think it would be appropriate for a motion to authorize the law department to enter into a deed to the high bidder of this property, the East Boston Group, and authorize the mayor to execute that deed for the ultimate transfer of the property away from the city to the high bidder.
Somebody like to
I'll make that motion.
Motion's been made by Councilor Field.
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Walsh. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Great to have that
Thank you.
finally done. Thank you, everyone. Next is an update on the senior center. Attorney Lamanna.
To piggyback on the third time is the charm, I think it's appropriate time for now for the senior center bid RFP to go back out. Been out twice. We have not received any bids. Our due diligence with the health department, our new elder director, affair director, we've located some properties for rentals and possible purchase in the downtown area, and we think the council authorizing an RFP going out for a 10-year lease and/or a purchase, that we're optimistic that we're going to get some bids that are going to be some good quality bids for a senior center, either on a short-term lease or a possible sale. We'll be looking for a vote of the council to authorize the law department and the purchasing department to go out to a bid for a double, two choices, anyone that looking to sell a piece of property that's for sale, and we're aware of some properties downtown that are for sale, or for a 10-year lease, up to a 10-year minimum lease for the location of the senior center.
Okay, what's the wish of the committee?
Make a motion to put out the RFP for a 10-year lease or to purchase for a senior center.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. If I could only add that we'll have an opportunity to approve that RFP before it goes out, Attorney Lamanna?
Absolutely, that's correct.
Okay.
Love that.
Okay. Council Lapierre.
Thank you, Chair Sabat. I also, Jim, the rationale for lease or buy, what's the theory behind that? And also, what's the duration? Why the minimum of 10? Why not either shorter or longer? Do you have any feedback on that?
Good question, Councilor. Our first RFP was for a period of 5 years. It was the people that were interested in possibly bidding. The feedback that I received was the amount of money for a build-out just did not warrant only a 5-year commitment to the RFP. Now, obviously, a purchase, we're probably in all likelihood talking about millions of dollars of upfront money, where a lease would be, we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. And this will give the council and the Council on Aging and the Mayor's Office an opportunity to evaluate the strengths and the weaknesses of either one of those options, whether it's a 10-year lease, a minimum of a 10-year lease, or an ultimate, or a purchase of the property. So the purchase option has never been part of either the first two RFPs. That would be a new addition. And again, that's primarily because we're aware of some properties that have been up for sale recently, that are on the market as we speak, in the real estate market. That being said, the real estate market's hot, so some of the prices that we may be getting 5, 10 years ago, it's going to be a higher number. But this is what we have elected officials for, and our CFO and our economic team to make a decision, along with the health director and elder service director, what is in the best interest for the city and especially our seniors.
Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney Lamanna. We all set?
We have to vote on it.
Motion made, seconded. Roll call?
Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Next up, Lynn Woods Conservation Restriction. Once again, Attorney Lamanna.
Well, this has been a long process that I started when first year in a lot of departments as a lawyer was 1997. I'd worked under former Mayor McManus, putting together a conservation restriction to put Lynn Woods in a lockbox, so there's no potential of development, no centennial parks, no hotels. Been a lot of hard work that's been put into this over the past 20 odd years with the DCR, Essex Greenbelt, the Mayor's Office. This council's been very active in trying to secure and locking up the Lynn Woods. It's been about a year-and-a-half title search to try to ascertain the ownership of all Lynn Woods. A lot of this land was donated Much of it was donated back in the 1800s. Some of it, the land exists, and we just haven't been able to locate the owner. So moving forward, and hopefully in the October meetings, there's a three-step process. One would be Article 97 legislation to submit to the legislature to have the legislature declare this potentially parkland. Everything that you now envision as Lynn Woods, whatever, there's trees on it and whatnot. What we envision Lynn Woods, some of that is not protected as of right now because it was not donated and it was not a restriction in the deed that will be forever for recreational purposes. So that'll be the first step in the process. There will also be some eminent domain takings that the City Council would have to approve of land that we have not been able to, and DCR attorneys have not been able to identify who owns the land. We have no reason to believe anyone's going to come out of the woodwork. They spent a year and a half, our title attorney, to try to locate these owners. It would be protected with some title insurance that will be relatively cheap, because if you spend a year and a half looking in every nook and cranny at DPW, in City Hall, at the Registry of Deeds, and haven't been able to identify an owner, we're confident that the eminent domain would just be a simple filing. And the third part that requires some work with the City Council is a conservation restriction that restricts the use of this land for recreational purposes, with some carve-outs, as we know that the golf course exists, and we intend that it continues to exist as long as golf is a popular sport. We have a reservoir up there that is our water supply. Our city forefathers back in the 1800s were well ahead of their time in ensuring that Lynn has its own water supply. There are not many municipalities in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts that have their own water supply, thanks to our forefathers. So we're finalizing that on the city side and the water sewer side to make sure that the Water Sewer Commission is satisfied that the restriction will not restrict their ability to provide water to the city residents. And DCR, I've found, and Essex Greenbelt, who will be our third-party administrator, ensuring that there is no encroachments in Lynn Woods and ensuring that the conservation restriction is complied with, and that the land is forever to be used in perpetuity. Well, that'll be the third vote. We've been working with Attorney Vitale has been, Attorney Sam Vitale has been very helpful representing water and sewer, and we're hoping that those final bits that have to be worked out, we can have that worked out in October, and we'll have some legislation for the council to vote on. In my 20 years, 25 plus years as attorney, this is probably one of the proudest things that I've been involved in. At different times, it's been fits and starts, but this is to be able to put a lockbox and make sure that this is for hundreds and hundreds in perpetuity, that Lynn residents are going to be able to enjoy Lynn Woods. It would be a tremendous feather in the cap of all our elected officials and all our appointed officials, and we can make that happen. And the law department believes that we'll have some draft language for you, probably the October 12th meeting, and perhaps for the October 2nd meeting. My math is terrible. Maybe the 26th. That there would be a hearing on the Article 97 legislation that would give the law department a month to finalize just the last bits and pieces on our end, and then also give the Water and Sewer Commission some time to make sure that they're absolutely 100% comfortable that there's nothing in there that's going to interfere with current operations or unknown future operations. Obviously, no one can predict how water is going to be and what the sources of water will be 100, 500 years from now. So they're looking into the future in a crystal ball to make sure the language is written in such a way that in no event will it hinder the delivery of water to our citizens.
Thank you, Attorney Lamanna. I think we all offer you a lot of thanks for all your hard work on that. I'm sure the Friends of Lynn Woods are thrilled as well. Council President Steer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to reaffirm what Jim said. I was working in Mayor McManus's office when this whole thing began, and it's been a long process, and just like Marshall Middle School, but this has been a lot longer. Everybody's that close to it. I mean, there's been so many different councils that have been involved in it, park commissioners that have been involved in it, and everybody's that close. There's been 3 or 4 mayors since this began, and everybody's really worked hard. The law department has put in unbelievable amount of time and effort. Both George and Jim and Rick have just put in many hours, all the way back to Mr. Barry, So it's just been a long process. And I think, as Jim was just saying, hopefully at our next meeting, we'll be able to take a vote on it. So I just want to say that that's a great thing for the city of Lynn and for Lynn Woods. Thank you.
Thank you, Council President Seer. Again, I think that will put to rest all the talk and gossip of who's going to develop Lynn Woods and, you know, all that, and it will be a great place for Lynn residents to enjoy for generations to come. So once again, to the Law Department and everyone involved, thank you so much for your hard work. Next is the request from the Salvation Army to use the front steps of City Hall on November 4th, 2021 for the announcement of the finale of their virtual fundraiser. Is there anyone here from the Salvation Army? This was an afternoon, right? Okay.
Motion to approve.
Motion been made, seconded. Any further discussion? And it is an afternoon event. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
I would just, I know we just took the vote, but I would just, as a informational purposes, reach out, maybe have Terry, in case there's something that there's need, it says they're using the stairs, but is there anything that has to take place after hours, let's say, that we have to provide them? But custodial or whatever, services, a restroom, I don't know, but could we get involved, get in touch with them about the details of that? Okay, thank you.
Right, and we also made sure when they sent the initial email in that there was no conflict with the use of the building.
Thank you.
Thank you, Council LaPierre. Next, the property located at 314 Broadway in Len, Wyoma Square. This has been going on for quite a while. This is the little piece of city-owned property next to the True Value Hardware store. At one point, they were granted use of that property in a lease agreement. Foundation went in. Then it was decided that it would be best to have the property assessed and put out to bid. We did receive one bid on that property from the owner of the True Value Hardware store next door for $35,000 with the following order that would be attached to it as a deed restriction so that it can only be used as an accessory structure and not an actual building. The restriction would read, ordered that the law department draft the necessary documents to transfer ownership of the parcel to Timothy N. Tenney of Wyoma True Value Hardware Store with a deed restriction that the real property only be used for accessory storage as its primary use for a hardware store retail business located at 314 Broadway, Len, Mass. Further, electricity shall be permitted, however, the building shall not be equipped with water and sewer hookup. This restriction shall run with the land and be binding upon successor purchasers. Further ordered that His Honor the Mayor is hereby authorized to execute any and all documents to effectuate this transfer.
Make the motion.
Second.
Motion been made, seconded. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Thank you. And finally, in new business, Flamingos Landing at City Hall, which we have to grant permission to their landing, I guess. The election office is getting flocked by the shoemakers.
Oh, flocked.
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 Say that with a mask on.
I did say flocked, right?
Accent.
What's the flock? Yeah.
You got a technical.
The election office is getting flocked by the Shoemaker School fundraising team, who will be placing 20 flamingos on the front lawn of City Hall on Tuesday, October 12th through Wednesday, October 13th, 2022?
2021,
Oh, it says 2022.
voter registration.
Okay. Which is the last day to register to vote for the November 2nd election. The election office respectfully requests permission for the flamingos to be placed on the front lawn of City Hall. What is the wish of the committee?
Approve.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call to approve the flock.
Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Walsh?
Yep.
Yes. Counsel Field?
Yes.
Okay, with nothing else, is there
Motion to
anything
adjourn.
else?
Adjourn, second.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
The agenda for Tuesday, September 28th. Roll call, please.
Counsel Field?
Present.
Present. Counsel Hogan?
Present.
Present. Counsel Lozey? Counsel Lozey? No, absent. Counsel Net?
Present.
Present. Counsel Walsh?
Present.
Present.
Thank you.
Okay, we have new taxi operators. We have Yanit DeGracia, 43 Cottage Street. Is Yanit present?
What is the wish of the committee?
Just hold on, some people in the hallway. Give us
Yeah.
1 second if you would.
Yes.
They're all up there.
If you're here for license and you can have a seat, please come to the podium when your name is called. Thank you.
Do we have Yanit DeGracia? Come right up. 43 Cottage Street for a new taxi license.
Motion approved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Unit Thursday morning in the clerk's office. You're all set.
Okay.
Yep, okay.
Thank you.
Kevin Anthony Fernandez, 16 Tilton Place.
Is Mr. Fernandez here? What is the wish of the committee?
Motion to table.
Motion to table, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion is tabled.
Nolan Morel, 8 Joyce Street. Nolan.
Thank you, Mr. Morrow. What is the wish of the committee?
Motion approved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Thursday morning, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Pedro Patricio.
In the morning. They open at 8:30.
8:30?
Yep.
Pedro Patricio, Olney Street.
Is Mr. Patricio here? What is the wish of the committee?
Second. Motion to table.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion's tabled.
Julio Rojas, 120 Utah Ave.
Thank you, Mr. Rojas. What is the wish of the committee?
Motion approved.
Motion approved. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Mr. Rojas, Thursday morning in the clerk's office, your license will be ready. Thank you.
And we have Juan Carlos Valorio Diaz. Mr. Diaz.
Make a motion to table.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion is tabled.
Okay, we have a livery service license, a new one. It's Mikel Transportation, Juan Rojas, 159A Essex Street. He is the owner and also a livery operator.
Is Mr. Rojas here? Mr. Rojas? What is the wish of the committee?
Is he the same gentleman?
It's different.
No, it's different, okay. Make a motion to table if he's not here.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That license is tabled.
We have a new flammable license, 10 Heaths Court, Unit Number 9, the Melvin's Welding, Inc.
Like to make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. You're all set.
And we have a new secondhand article license
Yeah.
for 528 Eastern Ave, Macava Technology. Is anyone here from Macava?
What is the wish of the committee?
You know who that was?
I don't.
All right.
Just a couple. So is it a
Council Walsh?
second-hand clothing place, or what is it you're selling there? Is this in Darren's area, or is it?
528, yeah.
528.
Okay. I'm told the counselor from that area is okay with
All
it.
right, make a motion to approve then.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. You're all set. That carries.
And the rest are renewals.
Take them as a whole, make a motion to approve.
Motion approved. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Is there anyone else that is here that we did not call your name for licensing? Everyone here has been to the podium. Everybody's correct? Okay. You're all set. If you were here, your license is renewed. Okay?
Make a motion to adjourn if there's
We
no.
have a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Ways and Means Committee meeting. Madam Clerk, please roll call.
Counsel Net?
Present.
Present. Counsel Starbird? Absent. Present. Counsel Barton?
Present.
Present. Counsel Chakutis?
Present.
Present. Counsel Seer?
Present.
Could you please read the transfer?
We have a transfer of $13,356.51 from the reserve to the account of TBD to fund the match grant for the fire department from FEMA for PPE equipment.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staben? Absent. Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Seer?
Yes.
Yes.
Next,
Certify the following funds. $133,535.09 to the fire department by FEMA for the FY20 assistance to firefighter grant.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staben? Absent. Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Seer?
Yes.
Next, please.
Certify $9,158,237.66 to the City of Lynn by the Department of Administration and Finance for the county allotment for the American Recovery Plan Act.
What is the wish committee?
So,
Council President here.
thank you. So this is $9 million that we're receiving?
Mr. Spencer?
Mr. Pereira, could you come to the podium, please?
This is part of the CARES Act.
Excuse me, for the record, Mike Bertino, CFO. It's part of the ARPA funding. Essentially, we received the first allotment about 3 months ago. The second payment is because Essex County is not recognized as a county anymore, so it's our portion of the money that we would have gotten. So it's just like the money we received before, but it's another $9 million.
I would like to make a motion to accept with the following stipulation, that any transfer or expenditure of that money needs council approval, as I did with the previous money that we accepted.
Okay, what's the wish of
Motion made second.
roll call, please?
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staben? Absent. Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Seer?
Yes. If I can also add to that, that was also a recommendation of Mr. Cronin from the state, the auditor. So that's part of the reason why I did that as well.
Okay, so what's the wish committee on that one? That's
I'm not making it as a motion, I'm just
oh, okay,
stating
recommendation.
a fact.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Is anything else?
Okay. $480,000 to the Health Department by DPH for the COVID-19 case investigation and contract tracing grant program.
What's the wish?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staben? Absent. Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Seer?
Yes.
$55,000 to the school department by the DESE for the FY22 FC 310 McKinney Vento grant.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staben? Absent. Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Seer?
Yes.
Next, please.
$60,000 to the school department by the DESE for the FY22 FC 589 Teach and Learn grant.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staben? Absent. Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Seer?
Yes.
Next, please.
$54,933 to the school department by the DESE for the FY22 FC 734 Research to Practice Evidence-Based Early Literacy Grant.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staben? Absent. Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis?
Next,
Yes.
please.
Yes. Counsel Seer?
Yes.
Yes. $263,781 to the school department by the DESE for the FY22 FC 400 Perkins grant.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staben? Absent. Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Seer?
Yes.
Yes.
Any emergency? No emergency? Any new business?
That's it.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
4 of them are. 4. How are we doing? Diane? We'll drag them back in person.
Hey, you didn't know you were on this committee too?
You're on the Cannabis Committee?
Yeah.
Absent. Attorney Lamanna.
Present.
Present. Mr. Donovan.
Present.
Present. Mr. Cowdell.
Present.
Present.
Okay, thank you, everyone. The reason I called this meeting was for an update on the 4 dispensaries who we granted licenses to, who have yet to open. As time's going on, I thought it was a good idea to get an update. Out of the 8 that we did license, 4 are open. I think even the last one of the 8 that we licensed is already open. So kind of wanted to get an update of what was going on with Tree Market at 100 Ford Street, Good Chemistry at 696 Western Ave, also known as the former Tony the Florist site, Massachusetts Green Retail at 829 Boston Street, and Essex Apothecary at 233 Western Ave. We had told all the licensees that it would not be required for them to attend unless they wanted to, but to just submit a written update as to what was going on. So I'm just going to read for everyone at home, everyone here, what the responses were. We did receive 3 out of the 4. Mass Green Retail did not respond, so I think going to have to schedule another meeting, I think, and require them to come before us.
Mr. Chairman, which one didn't respond? Sorry.
Mass Green Retail at 829 Boston Street, the former O'Brien site.
Okay, thank you.
And a couple of us have been in contact with one of the licensees, but I guess their legal department was supposed to get us an update. They thought we had it, and we still have not received it. So we'll move forward and then address that when we're done. So the first one is Tree Market, 100 Ford Street. This is the corner of Ford and Boston, where there was a car lot located. Dear members of the committee, Tree Market, Lynn LLC has enjoyed working with the city of Lynn and is excited to provide some updates about the project for a marijuana retail establishment at 100 Ford Street. To provide some background information, Tree Market Lynn has received the following: a special permit from the City of Lynn City Council issued on October 24th, 2020. Subsequently, an appeal was filed by an abutter on the special permit. Tree Market received its provisional license from the Cannabis Control Commission on November 19th, 2020. The special permit's appeal was resolved, and the permit was recorded with the Registry of Deeds on January 21st, 2021. Since the issuance of the special permit and resolution of the appeal, Tree Market has the following update. The property owner was able to purchase and close on the abutting property. That was where the appeal came from. Tree Market is looking to expand their parking to include the newly purchased neighboring lot. Tree Market will then begin demolition of and site work. Tree Market anticipates construction will start in October 2021. Tree Market further anticipates that construction will take approximately 6 to 8 months, looking to complete construction in May of 2022, but no later than June 2022. Tree Market anticipates it will commence operation and open to the public on or about Q2 of 2022. Tree Market intends to work with the City of Lynn at every step of the process and is looking forward to opening its doors as soon as possible. Please let us know if you have any additional questions or concerns. I've gone by there. I know that the car lot has recently left that property, and so now it is vacant. I spoke to Mr. DeAgostino earlier in the week, and he told me that demolition should commence pretty soon. Mike, has any demolition permits been issued on that site?
No permits have been issued.
Okay, so nothing. Hopefully that will begin soon. So that's the update on Tree Market.
Chairman?
Yes.
Can I just ask a general question
Sure.
as we're going through this? When the recreational license is issued, is there a time frame that they have to, is it just open-ended, or is there a specific time frame?
We never established a timeline for when they had to open. There are some that move through the CCC process faster than others if they fit within the social equity piece and all.
And my other question, and it's pertinent as we go through this, if the council and they go through the 7-step process that we have in place is followed and they get granted a license, is there anything prohibiting them from shopping that license to sell it?
If they were to sell it, they would have to begin that process and come back. Any prospective buyer would have to come back. Am I right in saying that, Attorney Lamanna?
That's correct. The 4 that have not opened, the host agreement specifically states that the city council would have to approve the entity that purchases a license or proposes to purchase a license from it. So the location presumably has been approved, but that does not mean by any means that the buyer of a license satisfies the vetting process, the DIC, or satisfies the site plan committee, or satisfies the mayor or the council.
Okay, and to kind of piggyback Mr. Cowdell's question a little bit, if no action is taken on one of these sites, we do have the power to pull that back, correct?
I believe that there is a legal way to pull back, whether that is a withdrawal of a letter of support with the CCC, which is a requirement for the CCC to ultimately grant the license. We defer to Mike. I think you have to exercise a special permit. Is it 6 months? A year, I can't remember off the top of my head.
Within a year, you have to file.
At least here with Tree Market, they have taken some steps in order to try to exercise that, whether it's as good a faith as they could have taken. I question any of these 4, whether they could have done a bit more. So it'll be a case-by-case basis, but I do believe we could withdraw the letter of support, and in effect, they could not get a CCC license, regardless of our ability to pull the special permit.
Okay, thank you, Attorney Lamanna. Next, we have Good Chemistry of Massachusetts at 696 Western Ave. They sent an update including pictures, and they are pretty much ready to flip the switch. As you can see from the photos that were attached to their presentation, the build-out is just about there. They did a lot of work. The store looks good. And I will just read their update into the record. A summary of Good Chemistry of Massachusetts, Incorporated, actual and projected key milestones for our Lynn retail marijuana establishment is as follows. April 2019, GCMA submits its retail license to the CCC for its location in Lynn. October 2019, receives its provisional adult use license from the CCC for its retail location in Lynn. December 2019, architectural review submitted. January 2020, architectural review approved. Late 2020, GCMA begins its building site plan, design, and build-out of its resale facility in Lynn. July 29th, 2021, certificate of occupancy was granted by the City of Lynn. August 2021, post-provisional license inspection was requested by GCMA with the CCC. September 2021, GCMA signage special permit was approved by the Lynn City Council. September 23rd, 24th, 2021, GCMA hosted a career fair at our Lynn location seeking retail employees. September through October 2021, CCC will conduct post-provisional license interview and inspection. Fall 2021, GCMA expects to receive final license from CCC. Fall 2021, GCMA expects to request post-final license inspection with the CCC. Fall 2021, GCMA expects to receive a commenced operation notice from the CCC, which allows GCMA to open for adult use retail sales 3 calendar days from receipt of notice. And again, latest photos were attached, and for the most part, the build-out is complete. Any questions on the Western Ave site? Okay. And finally, this is for Essex Apothecary on 233 Western Ave. This is the former Ingram's Garage down by Chestnut Street. And the update, our hope is to have a certificate of occupancy. They're in the process of their build-out. I think they were supposed to have an inspection this week. Mike, do you have anything?
No, I do not.
No? Okay. Our hope is to have a certificate of occupancy by November 30th. We will have all of our information ready to submit to the CCC for our provisional inspection the date we get our certificate of occupancy. Obviously, we're going to push as hard as we can with the CCC, but my attorney said plan on 90 days, worst case, and 60 best case. Let me know if you need anything else. She had also said that their hopes were to open around the holidays. Based on this update, that may be a little lofty, but hopefully by at least Q1 of 2022. So that's the update on the 3 that submitted information. I don't know what happened with Mass Green Retail, but I think that it would be a good idea. Yes?
Mr. Chairman, I think you and myself received an email from Jordan Avery in the last 5 minutes with an update.
That's timely.
I got one too.
And Councilor Chakutis.
He said they were sent out earlier, but didn't receive it earlier.
Okay. And is Councilor Walsh here?
Yes.
Okay. I know that there were some issues with that property, and for those that are unaware, this is the property on the Saugus line, formerly O'Brien's. Half that building was anticipated would be Mass Green Retail, with the other side being a Bianchi's Pizza. And I know that some work had started on that building as far as foundation issues. I think shaving the Saugus portion of the building off and all, but in going by there recently, I haven't seen much going on. Council Walsh, I just want to read their update, and then ask you for your thoughts on it. Below is an update regarding the Mass Green Retail. Excuse me as I read this from my phone. Progress on obtaining the Mass Cannabis Control Commission's approval and the progress of the facility completion. The company submitted its CCC application in March 2021, and a timeline of obtaining CCC approval is as follows. March 2021, CCC application submitted. October 2021, receipt of provisional license. April 2022, post-provisional license inspection. April 2022, May 2022, receipt of final license. May 2022, June 2022, final inspection and commence operations. The company's timeline for construction completion of the facilities located 829A Boston Street are as is follows. January through March 2021, construction of foundation repairs. December 2021, commencement of framing work. January 2022, commencement of exterior work. February 2022, commencement of mechanical work. March 2022, commencement of rough inspection. April 2022, commencement of finishing work. May 2022, final inspections. So it looks like their build-out and licensure plan would have them open, I guess, by the middle of the year, 2022. Councilor Walsh, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, I do, thank you. I would like to just know, the building itself and the exterior is really wiped out. And I wasn't sure from the building department, since we have Mr. Donovan here, or even from this committee, is there anything that holds them to having to work on that building? We got the rail trail that went in down, there's a lot of improvements, Boston Street was paved, we got a couple of new businesses down there, and I think, just going by the email here, because I also have it, I mean, to wait for January to do exterior work is kind of ridiculous, I'm gonna be honest. I think everybody knows that we could have snowstorms. That's probably not gonna work. So I don't know if there's a mechanism for us to try to have them come in maybe to the next meeting, maybe with the property owner. I know that the licensed person is not the same as the property owner, but maybe we should ask them to come in and see if they can tighten up that exterior schedule, because I think it's just kind of being a blight at this point. And some of these other ones don't have provisional licenses from what I see yet, and they're still commencing with the build-outs.
Right.
And if I'm correct, at some point, you have to have some build-outs in progress in order to even finalize that approval by the state. So I'd
Right, because they have to come in, they have to do your security inspections, your storage inspections, and all before that they can give you final approvals. So all that needs to be done.
So is it something we could ask this committee to have maybe the building owner and the licensed cannabis dealer from the building come and try to, tell us what they're going to do? Maybe we can get them to tighten it up a little bit.
Okay.
Chairman, I'd like to make that in the form of a motion, that we bring both the property owner and the licensee to the next meeting.
Okay, motion's been made by Mr. Cowdell.
Seconded.
Seconded by Attorney Lamanna. Any further discussion?
Could I ask one quick question to
Yes.
Attorney Lamanna or to yourself, Mr. Chairman? On that, the license we're just talking about, when was, it seems to me like this was one of the first licenses that we granted. When did we grant that license? Do you know, Jim?
Well before COVID, I would agree that it was within the first 4 that we had issued.
The reason why I ask is I think that I would share Councilor Walsh's frustration with the condition of the building. They've had a license now for a long time. I think that they need to work with us.
I do know, in the defense to some degree, there were some legal challenges with the town of Saugus on that license, but that's been resolved for quite some time. And to Councilor Walsh's point, that building looks horrible. So, motion's been made and seconded to have the property owner and the licensee come before us at our next meeting. Any further discussion on that? Roll call, please.
Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes, Attorney Lamanna?
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Cowdell?
Yes.
Okay, thank you
Motion
very
to
much.
adjourn? Motion
Motion
to
to
adjourn?
adjourn? Seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Never ceases to amaze me.
Jim?
Hang it, he'll come in.
Roll call?
Counsel Barton?
Present.
President Counsel Chakutis?
Present.
President Counsel Calucci?
Present.
President Counsel Field?
Present.
President Counsel Hogan?
Present.
President Counsel LaPierre?
Present.
President Counsel Lozey?
Present.
President Counsel Net?
Present.
President Counsel Starbed?
Present.
President Counsel Walsh?
Present.
President Counsel Seer?
Present. All rise for a moment of silence.
Mr. President, can we have a special prayer for our retired Lieutenant Joe DeFranco from the Peabody Fire Department?
Also, thoughts and prayers to the family of Cynthia Champa.
Also the family of Jan Jones.
Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Communications.
We have no communications.
Public hearings.
We have no public hearings.
Public hearings to be set down.
Ordered that a hearing to be set down before the City Council for October 12, 2021, for the purpose of authorizing the City of Lynn to incur bonded indebtedness in the amount of $14,150,991 to pay costs of designing and replacing the windows and doors at the Lynn Vocational Technical Institute and Field House. Of the petition of National Grid for a grant of location beginning at the intersection of Sagamore Street to install conduits from the existing manhole at Washington Street for a new street light installation. And we have the petition of Santander Bank at 34 Monroe Street for a sign permit. And that's it.
So wish of the council. Motion to set down. Seconded. Roll call.
Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Lozey?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Starbed?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Seer?
Yes. Further orders? Did you read all that? We all set with that? Committee reports, public safety and public health. Public safety
Unanimous
is
vote of
Councilor
committee.
Barton.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Public properties, Councilor Starbed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Quite an agenda. First request from Elise Fannin, the treasurer, to use the foyer of City Hall to display the annual pumpkin decorating contest from October 18th to October 22nd, 2021. Unanimous vote of the committee. Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Second was to authorize the law department to execute the deed for the sale of the former Thurgood Marshall Middle School site on Porter Street to the East Boston Community Development Corp. Unanimous vote of the committee. Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Lozey?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Starbed?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Seer?
Yes.
We then had an update on the senior center. Unanimous vote of the committee to send out a new RFP for the purchase and/or 10-year lease of a potential senior center site. The RFP would then have to be approved by Public Property Committee and this body. Unanimous vote of the committee. Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Lozey?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Starbed?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Seer?
Yes.
We then had an update from Attorney Lamanna regarding the Lynn Woods Conservation Restriction. We should have formalized documentation before us at our next meeting to vote on. That was just for informational purposes. Then had a request from the Salvation Army to use the front steps of City Hall on November 4th, 2021 for the announcement of the finale of their virtual fundraiser. Unanimous vote of the committee. Motion to approve.
Motion made, seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Lozey?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Starbed?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Seer?
Yes.
Two more. We also authorized the property located at 314 Broadway in Wyoma Square to be sold for the amount of $35,000 with the following restriction: ordered that the law department draft the necessary documents to transfer ownership of the parcel noted to Timothy N. Tenney of Wyoma True Value Hardware Store with a deed restriction that the real property only be used for an accessory storage as its primary use for a hardware store retail business located at 314 Broadway, Lynn, Mass. Further, electricity shall be permitted, however, the building shall not be equipped with a water and sewer hookup. This restriction shall run with the land and be binding upon successor purchases. Further ordered that His Honor the Mayor is hereby authorized to execute any and all documents to effectuate this transfer. Unanimous vote of the committee. Motion to approve.
Second. Motion made, seconded, discussion, roll call.
Counsel Barton? Yes. Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Lozey?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Seer?
Yes.
And finally, unanimous vote of the committee to allow a flock of flamingos to be planted on the lawn in front of City Hall on the dates of Tuesday, October 12th through Wednesday, October 13th. Again, unanimous vote of the committee. Motion to approve.
Second. Motion made, seconded, discussion, roll
Can
call.
we just repeat what that was one more time again? Just-
Pardon? Go ahead.
Was it?
A flock of flamingos.
Thank you, Mr. President.
I mean, we've had a lot of seagulls drop in. It's nice to see a bunch of pink one-legged birds hanging around the halls. So the motion's been made, seconded, no discussion, roll call.
Counsel Barton? Yes. Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Lozey?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Seer?
Yes. That's it, Counselor?
Yes, Mr. President.
Licensing. Counselor Field.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have a unanimous vote by the committee. Motion to approve.
Motion made. Seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Ways and Means. Counselor Net.
Thank you, Mr. President. All transfer were voted unanimously by the committee to approve. I make a motion to accept.
Motion made. Seconded. I'm going to ask the clerk to read the transfers and the grants.
Transfer $13,356.51 from the reserve to the account of TBD to fund the match grant for the fire department from FEMA for PPE equipment. Certify the following funds: $133,535.09 to the fire department by FEMA for the FY20 Assistance to Firefighter Grant. $9,158,237.66 to the City of Lynn by the Department of Administration and Finance for the county allotment for the American Recovery Plan Act, with the stipulation that council approves any transfers. $480,000 to the Health Department by DPH for the COVID-19 case investigation and contract tracing grant program. $55,000 to the School Department by DESE for the FY22 FC 310 McKinney Bento Grant. $60,000 to the School Department by the DESE for the FY22 FC 589 Teach and Learn Grant. $53,933 to the School Department by the DESE for the FY22 FC 734 Research to Practice Evidence-Based Early Literacy Grant. And $263,781 to the School Department by the DESE for the FY22 FC 400 Perkins Grant.
Motion made, seconded, roll call.
Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Lozey?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Seer?
Yes, and that was with the stipulations as well, correct?
Correct, that's the stipulation. There was a stipulation.
Council approval on the money that's accepted on the 9 million? Okay. Recreational cannabis, which is Councilor Staben, correct?
Thank you, Mr. President. It was just an update for informational purposes on the 4 remaining dispensaries that have been licensed but yet to open. Tree Market at 100 Ford Street, Good Chemistry at 696 Western Ave, Mass Green Retail at 829 Boston Street, Essex Apothecary, 233 Western Ave. The only vote taken was to request that the licensee and property owner of the Mass Green Retail site at 829 Boston Street come before the Recreational Cannabis Site Committee at our next meeting for a more formal update. We didn't receive any paperwork till the end, so that was the only vote taken, unanimous vote of the committee, motion to approve.
Motion made, seconded, roll call.
Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Lozey?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Steer?
Yes. Any old business? Any new business? So before I ask what the wish of the council is, I just want to say that in the last 4 days, we've gotten 111 cases of COVID. It's extremely important because I know there is some communities out there that are very hesitant to get the shot. I really recommend that everybody does their research. I know they're nervous about getting the shot. I know all the councilors have gotten theirs, most of the people in City Hall, most of the people that work for the city and the school department. So it's very important that the public is aware that how important it is to get the vaccine. Because you're putting everyone at risk, including yourself. And I mean, it would really stink to have to go to someone's funeral that didn't get the shot. So I just want the public, if you know anybody who didn't get a shot and they're hesitant because they're fearful of it, then just get them to do some research. Reach out to their doctor and ask them. But it's very serious that we get that taken care of. Any other wishes? What's the wish of the council?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion made. Seconded.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Who's Mr. Flavian? Who appeared in opposition?
I'm not in opposition of it. I'm in favor of Alex. In other words, I have no problem with it. I'm sorry, the audio is awful. I'm trying my best to hear you. I apologize for that.
That's okay. So you guys stated your case well, and now the procedure is we ask if anyone else wants to speak in favor, and there was no one else in favor. So now we have a portion of the hearing.
That's something else, Mary.